Well, we got a Lance here. Yes, there's no Lance decals. I guess a while back he had some work done on it, and somebody over at Lance had actually fixed it and redid all the walls, and they never put the decals on for him. But it's a Lance, so he says, I'll believe him. It's his coach, camper, truck bed camper. So let's go see what's going on with the roof. All right, your typical RV roof. Put more on. Put some breaching right there. They want you to just keep slobbering this on. I mean, I'm sure if you've got an RV, you know how they want you to do it. We'll be getting rid of these rails. They'll just be in the way anyways, so we'll take those off. And but look at all that cracking and everything. And this stuff is supposed to last. So if it's supposed to last, why do you have to keep putting it on? Look at that one way over there. That's pretty bad. So we're going to get it all apart. And then we may be putting on another solar panel. But let's check it. So we got all this paper here because we wrap the sides. We're going to put it on the sides so we don't get anything on the sides. That's what we do. But it's obviously had some issues already. Right here in the front, you can see somebody put this tape on here. People think this tape is just the holy grail of stopping leaks. You see right there? So that's loose. And we're going to drive up inside here. You know, I may have a little bit to go and jump over here, but you know, you got the same issue right here. It's those little tiny holes that you don't realize, those are the ones that are causing the leaks. You know, see how it curls up? So look at all around here. It doesn't stick well. So you have to, there's a way you have to put these on. Even this one down here is coming apart right there. So I mean, I can, you know, water is getting in there. That's already just coming apart. So the whole thing is all wrapped up. We've got to put a new lens on it. Then, so we're going to strip this thing apart. We're going to show you what we got up underneath. But look at all this bullpucky right here. Man, that's a lot of booger, ain't it? Gee whiz. So I'll make a little mount for all of this so we can get these wires all sealed up properly. And I'm not sure about that. We'll check with the customer and see what we're doing with this thing if we're putting it back on. Then, let's see. What else have we got? We're still trying to stage up, as you can see. You can see all the different colors here. You got 1, 2, 3 layers already, and it still is leaking. You know, I don't know how much further you build it up before you get a little moat in there, and then water can't get out. It just gets trapped in here. You know, it'll get trapped, and then the problem with trapped water like that isn't draining, it acts like a magnifying glass, and it starts to deteriorate things rather quickly. So if you have one of these, let's see if I can reach, but right in there, you want to make sure that's sealed. There's a screw on this side, there's one here, so you want to get right in there. A lot of people don't do that, and they go, man, it went all around it. You got to get up inside there. So here's the other side. You can see the tape has just failed. Look at there. Wow. Yeah, that's a leak. I'll bet it is. So anyhow, I don't see any actual breaching in it. And I've taken a few of these off, and the membrane itself, when I've done them in the past, they're not really that thin. They're actually a pretty good membrane. And the, wow, that whole thing is shaking. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if all that's rotted. But the membrane itself has been thicker and better, but even our roof systems, there is 60 mil. That's a really good membrane. It really is. That's pretty thick. But it doesn't matter. Even on ours, which is 60 mil, that feels pretty thick. So it's probably a 45 mil. It looks like it's got all that reinforcement in there. It's commercial grade membrane. So it's not the membrane we usually have issues with. It's the fact that when they put these together, they don't put them up on curbs. You need to have those curbs to stop the water leaks. So, you know, a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to do a spray-on roof. You're still not solving the problem. On a spray-on roof, if you have damage up underneath there due to a gasket, or a spray-on or roll-on, there's a bunch of different companies that do them. They just, in my opinion, they've jumped on the bandwagon because people have been frustrated with roofs. They go, hey, you know, I'll put this product on there, it'll, you know, be seamless. But this is seamless. There's no seams on this thing. And they figure because they just pour it all around that you won't have all of this here. But if you have to change a vent, you'll have to go, but you'll have to cut around their product. You'll have to pull it out, and then obviously put it back in, go back to them to get it resealed. You also have to, the same with the gasket here. Once that fails and you get leaks inside there, it's going to damage your sealing. So when it does, that type of damage isn't covered under that warranty on any of them. So, and a lot of them will say, hey, it's lifetime. There's no such thing as a lifetime roof. If there was, I'd be putting it on. It's not lifetime. The warranties are generally 20 years. It's about what you get out of them, and then you'll have to put a top coat on it. You'll have to, and that's still a long time. My roof system's a 20-year system. So going by what they're saying, hey, it's a lifetime roof. Well, you never have to tear my roof off. You can, you know, put another recovery system on top of it as well. But the company doesn't say it's lifetime, so I'm not. And there's a lot of commercial companies that do the spray roll-on thing, a lot of them, and none of them say lifetime. So it's the same product. Why are they not advertising lifetime? You would think that somebody who owns a big hotel, or somebody that owns a shopping plaza, or somebody that owns, you know, even some of these big facilities, or even the RV center themselves would have the lifetime roof, and they do not. So that may tell you something right there. They just jump on there and they tickle your ears with all the fancy words, and it's when you do have failures like that, then they'll say, well, that isn't covered, that isn't covered, that isn't covered. They're not going to fix your seal, and they're not going to do all that. We're not going to have those issues. We never have, but if we did, we'd fix them. But we never have, because it's all heat welded. And you'll see when we pull it together, unless you've already watched videos and you know. But if not, then you're in for a surprise. So, but this is what I was talking about right in here, right in there. That's where you want to put that, get that caulking sealed up. So anyhow, we're going to take it all apart. We're going to see what we got up underneath there. I'm suspecting we got some damage up over here. So we're going to see what we got, get it all redecked, fixed, check her out, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. All right, onward and upward.
All right, so that roof come up real easy. It just flipped right up. This is D-lam right here. This is the lamination. So you can see the sheet. Look at the grain going this way. Now you can see the grain going this way. Now you can see the grain going this way. So they alternate the grain. That's where it gets its strength. It's just a 3-ply. So despite having all of that self-leveling, like I say all the time, here's another example. It's very, very infrequent that we don't have damage on them. Sometimes we'll see a little bit of damage happening, but it hasn't gotten to this point, so we've like got it in time. But virtually everyone that comes in here usually has some issues. And again, this is all from self-leveling. It does not work. So if it worked, we wouldn't be having these issues. So this is where the escape hatch was. And so when we take some of this up, I want to investigate, make sure. This is a what's called a ply foam roof. So underneath all this is more than likely foam. So I want to check all that, and I want to make sure that it's not wet. It doesn't have any moisture in it. So, but all this got to get redecked anyway. So we're going to explore all that. But that's your typical Lance roof. And again, they're all the same. It's a shame, but they all build them the same. Nobody wants to take the time to put a good roof on it. If you put a good roof on it, you're done. So the and that's where the, let's see, I believe that's, trying to see, I believe so. I believe that's, trying to see where the AC was sitting. I can't remember because I don't see any power wires there, so it must have been sitting back here. If the AC was there, that's all your contributions to your failed gaskets. So that's what I'm thinking it may be, because again, I don't see any power wires. Normally you'll see your 120 lines coming through. So we'll see if I'm wrong, because it's just got lower controls. No, there it is up there. It's the one up front. It's on this side right here. So that's from a vent. And then you still have some of this damage here that could have been a little bit from the gasket, possibly. And obviously around the skylight. So that skylight, it could have wicked up this way as well, but it's really this far. and then you can see it stretched all the way down there. That's a good size leak. So, all right, well, like you said, let us start tearing this up and I'll show you more. But it's not uncommon to have a gasket leak on your air conditioner. If you do, it's going to cause a lot of damage for sure. That's why they need to be up on curb. So all of this is all de-lammed. It wasn't worth saving, so we cut that section out. A couple other little sections that come up. So now, where did you meter this? Right here?
Yeah, right here.
Is the foam wet?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just take a meter and 0. Foam should always read 0. So we got a reading over here. We're probably going to take a little piece out. Yeah, that's too much. And I'm sure it came from that. Came from this skylight right here. You saw how it was all taped up. So we're going to fix that. We'll double check everything else. But you can't put it back down if it's wet. The moisture will never escape. You have to get it out. So that's why we got this fan on here. We're going to try and blow dry some of it. But some of it, if it's too wet, you just cannot. It's take too long to try to do it, and what'll happen is it'll soak through just like a sponge. It'll settle at the bottom, and now you have a wet ceiling. And then you'll be like, hey, I got the roof done. Why is it looking like I'm having a leak? And it's not a leak, it's the water finally settling and showing up. So we're going to take this one out and check this as well. Is that reading the same? Put it on the, there you go. That one's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. So that's the wood right here that we're picking up. And that's okay. It's a little, when you see the red on there, you can see the lines. See, that means it's just a little over. There's 3 more bars. So 15% is usually the maximum you really want to go. So you got too much over here. So it's settled in there. We're going to rip it out. Let's see how wet this is. Oh yeah, this got some moisture on it. Let's keep blowing on this. Yeah, that's kind of high. That's good there. Yeah, they all soak down into here. Yep. So let's just keep checking around. And then, like I say, we'll get the blower on there and make sure it's all dry. Throw some mold kill on it. And then we'll squirt it down with that. And then we'll check all these other areas around the skylight. How wet is that? I was just curious if the foam was holding water. Some of the other ones we've squeezed, it had so much water in it, we squeezed it, it drips out. Well, this one isn't soaked. Not like some of the other ones we've done. This one has got a little bit of water. I can feel that. I don't know if I get a drop to come out though. Nope. Alright, well that's what we're up to. You can see we got the roof all decked. So what we did, we're going to be putting 2 solar panels in here. I showed you earlier that this was a ply foam roof. This is 5 mil. That's all this decking is 5 mil, less than 1/4 of an inch. You're not going to get a screw to hold on and be able to handle all that wind pulling up on the solar panels. So we put some steel. There's steel up inside here and here. I got 2 more over there, and I meant to show it, but things just got away. You can see we got our protective strips on here, and that's to protect the siding, protect the membrane from the siding in that corner. A lot of times they'll put tape on there, but this is a much better deal. And this part is all hemmed over, so it's nice and smooth. So now we're just getting ready to put the roofing on. We got all that ready. There's a fork truck. Roofing's actually on the other side. It's a wheel that I made, and it rolls. You can see it over there. But the orange tape, that's the roofing. So we'll pull it out like a roll of paper towels. And we got these protective strips right here where the sheathing joints were. So, and then over here where some of it was a little high, we sanded it down and wanted to be smooth. All right, so we're gonna put that on there. It's our solar wires, and we're gonna wrap them. Well, we got the passenger side. We've already got it glued. You can see we got all the glue here. This is a contact cement. You have to do both sides. That's how contact cements work. A lot of the roofs that you see blowing off on these RVs is because they only do one side.
They just put it down and they roll that membrane over. That's why it doesn't take, and you'll see it get loose. But it's supposed to do both sides. But anyhow, that's the way we do it. We're gonna roll it over and then we'll grab a heavy roller. I don't know where it went. It's around here somewhere. But we'll take a heavy roller and we'll go over that as well and get that packed down, right? And then we can start cutting the curbs. You can see we got our strips in there. Everything's all protected. The whole edge is protected. Everything's protected. That's the way it should be done. So once this flashes off, see how yellow it is? It can't, that's still wet. That's still wet. You can see the color right here. That's starting to what's called flash off right here. That's still wet. So we'll wait for it all to flash off, and when it does, it gets rolled. Now we just roll it out. That's all we do, back and forth. Make sure it's packed down there good and got a good bond. We're done with our lance. She's ready to go. We want to thank the customer for bringing the coach to us. We really appreciate it. Came all the way from Arkansas, so we really appreciate that. And we're honored that people travel that far. I mean, I can imagine how many RV centers he passed up to bring it to us to make sure it got done right. So that's one of the reasons why we take the time to do what we do. I don't want to do just slap it together like a typical shop and then, he has problems with it. Gee whiz, I drove all the way from Arkansas out there, and boy, those, you can't do that. You got to take your time and do the job right. So here's our stamp. We put that on there to monitor the roof when it comes back for inspections. But also, if he did sell the camper, he could also pass along a transferable warranty, and that's going to help. If somebody wanted to buy it, would they buy this one or would they buy one with a bad roof with no warranty? So everything you see is all heat welded together. We make every single component. I fabricate everything. So we also don't sell anything at all. We're just a service center. So, but these are boots that go around the ladders, and what's filled inside there is a flexible product, and it's always squishy. And I'm doing this. It's always squishy. It's like an eraser. It will always stay flexible, so it's not going to breach. And then again, everything is all heat welded together. So it's probably easier to go around this side, I guess. Same with this, the antenna, same product. It'll always stay flexible just like that. It's not going to breach. These are all commercial products. So even the roof membrane that was on here was a commercial membrane. It was a good membrane, but without the curbs, you can see that the roof failed. And that's the point that I try to make. People think that you don't need them. It's an important part of the flat roof system, period. I've had people argue and say, well, it's not really a flat roof. It's got a little slope. That's considered a flat roof. There's no such thing as a flat roof. Even on a commercial roof, they have special, the roof in itself and construction-wise would be built flat. But then what they do is they'll use what's called ISO, that stuff there, that foam, it's isocyanate foam. It's a commercial grade foam, and they have them tapered. So in one area they have them tapered so the water will flow to a drain. So they're not always flat. But all that said, they need to have curbs. They need to have them. So everything on here, this is all heat welded in here. This is all heat welded. Everything's heat welded. And this is a counter flash, and this is your flashing. So when they say, hey, it's got to be flashed in, this is what they're talking about. This is basically seals it right here. That's flashing. This is a counter flash. The purpose of a counter flash is when you have the water rushing across the roof, it will come up here and it gets redirected away. That's the whole purpose to it. It prevents it from kind of jumping up and creating basically an erosion effect. That's what it's going to minimize. So it's not going to be able to get up on top. So they obviously got a new skylight. We do not put screws in these skylights because these skylights expand and contract a lot. So especially in the summertime when they expand, then if you have a screw in there, it's going to be pushing against the screw as it's expanding. Then you get a thunder shower. That'll cool it down immediately. Now it's contracting and it'll be pulling against that screw, and then that's usually you'll get these little hair fractures. So we don't warranty the lenses. I can't warranty them. I just get them from Icon Direct. So if you want to get on there and need one, this is about the only place I know of that you can get one or similar. And then the same with, now that's a solar fan.
So the reason why that's in there is when these, now we're coming into the fall, so you have some frost that'll get up on this, or even some dew, some cold weather, get some dew. Well, it's not only on here, it's on the inside of this lens. So now the sun comes up, it's going to evaporate that off. When it evaporates it off, what's inside, on the inside of this lens, is going to drool down. And that's how you end up with dry rot, because it's condensation. And then it'll get down in there, and the roof deck will wick it up, or in this case, it could be a curb, will wick it up. And then if it wicks it up, then you start to get, again, that dry rot, and things start to fail. You'll have a bunch of screws that'll loosen up, and then a person will get up there with more self-leveling. They put it on there and say, hey, it's leaking. It's leaking for a reason, because the screws aren't secured to hold it down to keep it sealed. So that's a solar fan. So when the sun comes up to evaporate that dew off of here, that fan's going to kick on, and then this is the intake, and it'll pull the air up. There's an inner lens. It'll go up in between the inner lens and this lens, and it'll evacuate through there. So that's the whole idea, the concept to it. That's solar, so you don't have to worry about always going back in, and when you have this sitting, you know, for the summer or the winter or whenever you're not using it, you have to go flip a switch. You don't have to do that or worry about wearing down a battery. So that's the design of that. And then you can see earlier, when in the first clip, you may notice if we didn't take it off, can't remember, but there was a solar panel over there. And obviously you can see we put new solar panels on. So there's steel underneath here, and I see people do this a lot. They will say, hey, I want to put solar down, and they want to take the bracket and just screw it to the roof. These are ply foam roofs. There's foam under here. You can't just screw it to the foam. It's not going to hold. And what a lot of people think is that the wind is going to come over and press down. It's going to press down as it goes. The wind doesn't do that. When it goes over the vehicle, it pulls up and it creates a vortex. So now it's pulling like this. And when it pulls, it can, you know, potentially pull the panel off, especially even some wind that's getting up underneath here. It can pull that panel off. So there's steel in here. I put a piece of steel in here, and it runs along the other side. So I got a long piece that way, a long piece there, and the same on both sides. So now when we put our mounts, these are mounted to steel. The steel that I put in there is glued into the roof deck, and then we laminated it again with another sheathing, so it's locked in there. It isn't going anywhere. So obviously we got some galvanized bolts in here as well. We don't hook anything up. We don't do that. Matter of fact, those are the wires sitting over there, so he can run his wires and he can bring them over and hook them up. And that's why we put this rail in here. We don't want anything sitting on the roof. We want it to be up. We do not want wires on the roof. So zip tie them to here. That's what you want to do, keep them up out of the way. And then we did put in a new emergency hatch, so we had to get that in there. And the same principle applies. You can see how we get the flashing, and it's counter flashing. So now again, when the weather comes in, it's not going to try to jump the curb. And that again is how a flat roof works. Now on the air conditioners, it's got the same principle. It's got the same counter flash right here. There's a foam gasket up underneath there. As the rain comes down, I don't want the wind to blow it back into that foam gasket. So that's what that other little piece is down there. That's up underneath the cover. So it'll come around, it hits that other counter flash, which would be here, and then it'll push it down lower, and it pushes the water out. I've got a couple of stands in the back just to give it some balance. So you don't want that thing teeter-tottering, so it just keeps it all aligned. So that's basically the roof. Now the roof in itself, again, the other one that was on here, that was the commercial grade. And this one is a 60 mil commercial grade. This is considered a 20-year roof system from the commercial roofing industry. That roof system is the way they do the roof warranty, and they do it through an accelerated testing. So they'll take this product and they beat it up with, I know, a lot of UV light, they beat it up with a lot of hail, they beat it up with a lot of stuff. And that's your testing. And they go, okay, well, they look at it, and maybe it lasted 25 years. And they'll say, all right, let's give it a 20-year warranty, because they're not going to push themselves to the limit on it. But in an RV doesn't see the kind of weather. Typically, it's in the shade. Typically, you know, they're covered up. They're in some sort of have some sort of protection from maybe from trees and so forth. And all that said, I mean, these roofs, you're probably going to get, I mean, I'm guessing you're probably going to get about 25 plus years out of it. So after that, all you have to do, if you see this roof looks like it's failing, it looks like it's really weathered, you know, the UV light's beating it up, we'll say 40 years down the road, just for argument's sake, you can put another product over this. So it's a recovery product. You can put that on there and it'll be fine. So I don't like to come out and just say, hey, it's a lifetime roof. You don't ever have to tear the roof off. You don't have to do that. But I'm not going to step out there and say that's a lifetime roof, because it's not going to last a lifetime. You know, to me, lifetime means you don't have to mess with it. You don't ever have to mess with it. You don't ever have to do anything for the rest of your life. I'm not like that. So they say it's 20 years. And in fact, all those spray and roll on roofs, they're all the same. They're all the same. They're not a lifetime. No, there's nothing lifetime. If it was, I'd be putting it on, but it's not lifetime. So just keep all that in mind. And then, so here's the product. Here's some information on us. If you want to go to our website, you can, but obviously there's our telephone number right here. You can reach out to us. A lot of the same information that you're getting off of this YouTube channel is on our website. But these are the three colors: the gray, the white, the tan, and that's what you call a structured membrane. So a structured membrane, you probably see those little squares in there, and there's a weave. Basically, it's a mesh that's built into it to resist against tree branches and hail and things like that. So it makes the membrane a lot stronger. But the maintenance on this, you can pressure wash this roof. You can pressure wash it or bring it to someplace and have it pressure wash. That's not an issue. It's just some soap and water, and that's as easy as it is to clean it up. So the way our warranty works is if the customer comes back annually, if they come back annually for their inspections, then, you know, we will cover whatever needs to be done. If there's any other damage, we'll take care of that as well. So what I'm saying is, you know, I want to see it every year. If they don't, they can do it themselves. They can inspect all of this themselves if they know how. We show them how. So, and we also leave with a care package as well. So, you know, if they're doing it themselves and they bring it in, they go, hey, we got a problem with it. Well, I mean, we didn't inspect it, so whatever repairs we'd have to do, we'd have to charge the customer for that. But, you know, if that's something that they just neglected to find, you know, that's why we like to see them. And again, we show everybody how to do it. And basically what you're doing is you want to put your hands on the caulking. I mean, you don't just look at it. You really want to put some friction like this. You want to see if anything's breaching. You want to take these boots, you want to squeeze them. You want to make sure that everything is sealed in there. You want to go around that way. The same thing with the caulking on here. You want to do that. So every single screw you can see is all sealed, every single screw. And then we also put 2 strikes of caulking on here. So when we put this gutter on, it was sealed, boom, on. The adhesive caulk had pushed out, we swashed it down, and then when that cured, we put another layer, and then when that layer cured, we put yet another layer. So there's 2 layers on here, plus the one behind it. So, but you still want to be able to put some friction on this and see if it's breached at all in an area. If it is, this type of caulking, again, we leave folks with product, so if they had to, they could do another little application here or there, right? They could do all that themselves. So, you know, some of the areas that are pretty prone, because these things kind of rack and twist and flex, and even though being a truck bed camper, it's still going to do the same thing with some headwind. So I'd want to be looking for, like, right in here. This is, you know, transition of, you know, going in 2 different directions. You get going back and forth this way and obviously this way. So this is kind of an area you'd want to look at. Check out all the gutters and things like that. So if a person does that, then you're not going to have any issues with these. These are, you would take like even a butter knife, or you can use a little joining trowel or something, and you're just going to kind of glide along. You're not going to have any issues with these. But even if you did, again, we leave with product, we leave with roof tape, you can do that, and then, hey, you can call us up and say, hey, I got an issue with this, that, the other thing, or you know, if you wanted to run it to if you couldn't come back to us, that tape's going to hold. But this is a commercial roof, so any commercial roofer could come up here and take a look at it and go, oh yeah, I see what's going on, you know. But you're not going to have any issues with you. We just don't have them. we don't have those issues, but I always err on the side of caution. You always want to inspect things. Don't take anything for granted. You know, just it's real simple to check it to be sure that everything is okay, you know. But, you know, same with your tires and, you know, the rest of your vehicle. And, all right, so I think we got everything covered. And we appreciate you watching. Skip the ads. You can, any one of these videos you watch, skip the ads. That's a YouTube thing. That's not us. That's YouTube. They want to get their money. We don't monetize these. We put these videos together so, you know, the customer really can see what's going on. That's the actual intent right off the rip, was to let the customers see, because they're always asking, what'd you find? What'd you see? You know, how'd you fix it? That type of stuff. So that's why I say, hey, go watch the video, because I'll probably forget by the time they come to get them. You know, I go, let me think, which one did you have? So all that said, you know, we put them together for that reason, for the customers to take a look at it. And again, if the other folks, I'm sure other folks watch these videos, my point is we don't monetize them. That wasn't the reason why we put the channel together. We're not YouTubers, we're not content creators and all this other stuff. So other than that, like I said, we appreciate y'all watching, and you go watch a few more, and if you like what you see, I guess if you can do all that, subscribe and all that, and I don't know, I guess the like button helps to get out to the algorithms or something, in case someone else is looking for a roof on their Lance camper or something, they can find it. Again, I'm not all that savvy with all that stuff, so but we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Package. Right. So in our care package we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, and we'll simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining. You're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you're trying to do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Get some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What are you going to talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film. Now you know which side you are. See, that's because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers, fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably use some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now you got the film. You take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a beautiful. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.